Hey guys, it's Maymay, and recently we released our Postcard Builder stamp set, and when I did, I had this card as a sample, and so many of you said you wanted to see me make this one, so that's what we're going to do today. It's super fun and super easy, so let me show you where we're going to start. Let's start with, I'm going to put this up here in the corner so we can kind of know what we're doing. Let's start with the little postcard. So when I designed this set, in my mind, I didn't see it as only a postcard builder because it is a postcard builder. By the way, this is a pre-made card base, A2 size card base. I didn't see it as just a postcard builder. I also saw it as a way to use it in card making, right? And this was one way I wanted to do it, with a little postcard on the front of a card. So this is an A2 card. This guy right here is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. That's the size of our postcard. So we're gonna start with that. So the first thing I want to do is do the stamping around this guy. So I'm going to be using this long line. This is the only one I'm going to use. You could use both if you wanted to and alternate them, but I get what I need out of this one guy here, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm using Charming Pink from Versaclear, and as you can see, it is really bright, and you're like, but you didn't make your card that bright. No, I didn't. I'm going to do something called second generation stamping. What that means is I'm going to ink up my stamp, okay, and then you see I have a little scrap page down here. I'm going to stamp it off one time on that scrap page. That gets rid of some of the ink, but it leaves me behind a little lighter color. See how bright that is? I don't want it that bright. Then I'm going to come here to the bottom of my little postcard, and I'm going to line this up at the bottom. If it hangs off the edge a little bit, that's fine. And I'm going to stamp using what's left on the stamp. And see how I get that paler pink? Look at the difference. That's what I want. I want this paler pink color. So I'm going to do that all the way around really quick. Now you may have a paler pink in your stash and you don't have to do this. And I do have some, but I just like my pigment ink, so I want to use this one. But this would even work with like a distress ink. If you want to use one of your distress ink colors, that would be perfect. Now notice at the end, I am just stamping over and I'm not concerned about it. You won't notice it. I'm not trying to line them up perfectly or anything. I'm just stamping right over the other ones and letting that hang out. I did that on my first one too, and I just think by the time you're done, everything blends so well and it looks so cute that you won't even notice that. Let's get this last one done here. And now you'll notice in my original that I did two colors. I did a gray and a pink. I'm going to do that as well. So I used this color, which is called Morning Mist from Versaclear. Now, one thing I do need to do is I need to clean my stamp in between. Now, for my Morning Mist color, I'm not going to second generation it. I'm just going to stamp it. The reason being, it's already gray, and this paper is kind of beige, and I don't mind if it shows a little bit, if it kind of, you know, stands out. And what I'm going to do is line it up where it alternates with my pinks, and I can get that little double color line effect. Isn't that cute as it can be? So cute. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Now, while I've got my inks out, I want to do some more designing. So you see here in this top corner, I have that little stamped image. That is from your stamp set, and what I did was I did this one in gray, the little outside circle. Just put that in the top corner like so. Cute, huh? And then in the pink, and again, we're going to second generation it, so I'm going to bring this little scrap back over. In the pink, I'm doing the word love. There's several words on the set that fit inside here, so I'm just going to stamp it off. Let me do it where you can see it. I'm going to stamp off first, and then stamp second generation so I don't get this bright, bright pink. I just get it kind of pale. I love that. I love how that looks. All right, next we're going to do the postage stamp. And again, with my gray, I'm not second generation. I'm just stamping it straight on. And in this little set, there are so many ways for you to design this postcard. So many different little ways. I'm just using these because I thought they were cute. Then I'm going to take my wavy line and I'm going to stamp it on the postcard. I mean, on the little postage stamp, just like this, just for looks. And I went all the way across as if the post office had done that. And then I'm going to do a little pink heart in there. Just think it is so precious. And again, anytime I'm using the pink, I'm going to stamp off and then stamp so I don't have any harsh, hot pink showing. Isn't that adorable? So easy. And I just noticed I used a different one in my original, but that's okay because you have options. Look at all the little options you have. You have both of these guys to choose from. And even though I use the heart, we have wedding bands. There's balloons and stars. There's even crowns. There's so many little things you can use on your postcard. All right, so that is my postcard in the background. Now let's do some other stuff. I forgot to show you where my postcard paper came from, this little lace in the background. I got it from the basic book number 7, the backgrounds in lace, and I just chose the lightest color for that. And then I chose this pink color because if you notice on my original, I have this little border hanging out around my postcard. I want to show you how I made that. So this piece I cut to 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. And now here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a border punch. Now, I'm not measuring and trying to line these corners up exactly right. The only thing I'm going to do to start with is kind of line this piece up in my punch, even on either side, fairly even. I'm not even stressing that I'm not exactly in the center. And I'm going to punch this border along the bottom here, all the way across. So there's that bottom border, okay? Now I'm going to flip it around and do the top border section. Same way, just kind of eyeball centering it on the bottom. I did not do any math to line this up. There are videos on YouTube where people actually do kind of this math to make the corners match exactly. I didn't do it. I thought this is a frilly enough piece. I got to find my line up there. There we go. Let's go a little further in here. This is a frilly enough piece that it will kind of hide my corners. And it really does. In the finished product, you'll see what I'm talking about. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to eyeball center this and work my way out. And whatever I get on these corners, see how bad that looks? Whatever I get is what I get. Don't worry. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I just didn't want to have to do math and figure things out and da-da-da. And I thought most of this is going to be hidden. This will probably work when it's all done. And it did. So you can see here that these corners look a little rough. So here's what I did. I took my scissors and I just kind of trimmed it up. I kind of decided what I wanted to keep and what I didn't. And this little piece just kind of hangs there a little bit funny. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm also going to come in and just kind of trim this out. And yes, it looks a little strange here, but when you put it to the card and you get everything decorated, it won't. So here I'm going to end up cutting a little more away than I really wanted to, but that's okay. It will hide. I can put that in the corner underneath some of my elements on the card and you won't see it. And again, I just didn't want to spend the time having to do my corners perfect. I thought this will work just fine. See, these other corners have turned out great. So I'll just hide that one behind the groom. We'll hide this corner behind the groom and the rest will look good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is do some inking. So I'm using Distress ink. This is Walnut Stain. It's a little dark. You might want to use Vintage Photo or something like that. I'm just going to be super easy. And here's something you can do. If you're afraid that it's going to be too dark when you're using one of your inks, just do this. Tap it on the back that's not going to show and get some of that ink off, and then come to your edges. It's just like Second Generation, but you don't have to have a piece of scrap. Just use the back of this page, right? It won't show. We're gonna glue all that down. So I'm just gonna run around in ink. Don't want it too dark. Just think this is so cute when it's all put together. While we're inking, let's ink our postcard. Now on my postcard, I was a little heavier and I was really to the edge. Like I'm not trying to ink in the center of this one. I'm holding my blending tool a little straighter up and down because I'm really just trying to get the edges to look kind of worn and tattered. And I'm not really trying to get into the center of this one. I like the lightness here because when we go to stack all our images on, we're going to need that light behind them. Cute, huh? And that'll live just like this. And look how it just kind of hides our mistakes, but we get that little frilly border. Works perfectly. All right, now let's do some fussy cutting. So this wedding book, if you've never seen these books from Mintay, this is the wedding book. There's all different kinds of books, but you have all of these images that you can cut out and use in any way you see fit. And so here's what we're doing today. You can see on my card here, I have a groom and a bride. The first thing I'm going to do is pick one of those. Now, I used some from this area before, but I have all of these left to use, and I can change it up based on what the color of the suit I want or the dress. I'm going to take this guy today. I like how he looks, so I'm going to pull this one out. And look how many of these cards I can make with this book. And I don't have to color. I just cut these out and put them on. Which dress do I want? I really think I like this one. This kind of creamy colored one. Look, there's shoes. I could use the shoes if I wanted. I'm going to cut this out. And then I'm going to show you something else I'm going to do. I might even use those rings because they're pretty. And I've cut them apart. Then on this page, I'm going to take the Mr. and Mrs. banner and this heart. So let me just come in here and get these out. Just like so. And now we fussy cut. And now, as you guessed, I'm going to ink around these as well. Something that this does, if you're not, you know, the best fussy cutter, I don't know. I don't think you can mess up fussy cutting because it is just that. It's fussy. Just do it, right? But if you do have some places that you kind of want to hide, the ink does that. Like especially, like look, can you see around his collar? I was very sloppy up there, up in that area. But when you take your ink and you go to town with it, all that stuff goes away. It hides all of the mistakes. See the difference? No one's going to notice. No one's going to know. Let's keep going. Now let's work on the card base. Now, I did something here just for the heck of it, and you might notice it. You see in the background, you can see the word celebrate. It's kind of hard to even tell that it says celebrate, to be honest with you, but I just thought this was kind of cute. So here's what I did. I took the word celebrate from the postage stamp set. Same stamp set, we're not having to use another one. And I took the word celebrate. And what I did was I just kind of came down here, and I'm going to make sure the C shows this time because I didn't that last time. So we'll make sure you can see it there at least the first time. And then I just kind of did like this in the corners. Not a whole lot, just back and forth, kind of moving the word around on this angle. And I just made sure I did enough so that when I brought the postcard over, you can see when I bring this over, it'll kind of cover into the corner. So I did it here, and then I also did it up here at the top. Just a little interest in the back. I mean, you could ink the back page, you could use another pattern paper, you could use a embossing folder would be pretty to do on your card, something like that. I just thought this was neat and different, and it added a little bit of interest back here. So I just did like that, just to give it something, and then we inked it up. Heavier hand this time because I'm using white and I want to tie this card together. So you can see I'm using a much heavier hand and much heavier ink. I just think that sometimes you have to do that when you're using a white card base like I am. And now we can assemble this card. So for the postcard itself, I'm going to glue directly down our little postcard to our little kind of doily piece. Making sure I'm going to put that corner down here that I want to hide. If you have one you want to hide, you want to kind of pay attention to that as well. So that gives us that little frilly edge. Isn't that cute? And then I'm going to pop this up on foam. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the foam on the back. Just a bit of Scotty here, at the bottom and at the top. And that will be ready for our card. And I'll just bring the card over here and put it down. So the postcard I put on kind of a little angle. I'll show you that. It's really interesting here too. I want to show you. I'm going to work with the postcard on an angle, but I'm not going to put the bride and groom on an angle. You'll see. So I'm going to lay this in like this so it kind of fits the card. And honestly, if it hangs over anywhere a little bit, it doesn't bother me. I think that's kind of cute. All right, for the bride and groom and all our little pieces, we're going to decide how we want to lay them out. So the postcard is here, and I want this to feel like part of the postcard. So I'm going to put it on the same angle as the postcard, and I just glued it straight down on that same angle. Because like I said, I want it to feel like part of the postcard. But because the bride and groom are not on the postcard per se, I want them to be more straight up and down. You'll notice here that I'm going to put them up and down like this, and I think this works really cute. And these guys I just glue directly down, no foam, but that's just because I like to have only one layer of foam on a card, because when I'm mailing it, I don't want it to be too super thick. So I'm just really gluing him down to the lifted up postcard. And then our little lady here, and I overlap him with her because I think that's really cute. And again, she's going straight up and down just like so. And then our little banner, which is so precious, Mr. and Mrs. I'm just going to glue that down. And I glued it across our little bride and groom like so. I thought that was super cute. And we still could see her dress that way. So you can see how they're straight up and down, but our postcard is like that. How cute, right? And probably a lot easier than you thought it was. You think? Because you might have thought, well, that's a lot of detail, but it's really not that much. I fussy cut 4 elements. That's it. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4. We made our little postcard. I think it turned out super cute. One thing I want to point out to you, you can see the difference. Here, I used one of the pages that had lace, a bigger lace on the background. And here I used the fuller lace, and I like them both. I think it works both ways. So there you go. Another way to use our postcard builder set. Can you see this? Making these like as tags for gifts, for wedding gifts. I think that would be so cute. So you know the deal. If you make something using this set, I want to see it. So head to our customer gallery at maymaymadeit.com and upload photos of what you're doing with our postcard builder set, or with any of the wedding books or the lace books or the background books. I love to see what you guys are doing. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here today. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, bye now.